Hello fellow human, welcome back to another Dang Tower Slash entitled Parents videos. What do you like to wear during the summer? Do you enjoy something casual like tank top and shorts? The first story is posted by Queen Snow 725. M yells at me for wearing a tank top on a school trip because her son shouldn't see that. First of all, most of the girls were wearing them because it's 100 degrees, and second of all, I'm a teacher. The players are OP, me, M, entitled mom, Mrs. T, my teacher, Mrs. A, another teacher. I've been teaching students this springs in a 6th grade class. It's been a stressful semester, but a good one. Since day one, I've been treated 100% like a colleague and equal by my teacher and her grade level partners. I'm very baby-faced and don't always look like I'm in my 20s. But I know these kids very well. I subbed for them a lot last year and in this past fall. So they already have respect for me and we have a decent relationship. This week we're on a camping trip with 4 total classes. I finished student teaching, but my teacher invited me on as a teacher to get the experience. We mostly hang in the medical lodge and make sure the kids take their meds each day. Easy gig after months of teaching. The kids are happy to see me. Anyways, we arrive at the camp and I rode on the bus with my teacher. 2 of the other teachers drove their cars with student luggage and so did some parents. I got off the bus and started to head down to the lodge with other teachers to our meeting with the camp director and the counselors. I stopped off to fill my water bottle before heading down. As I finished up, a mom came up to me. I smiled and was about to greet her. "You can't wear that." "Excuse me?" "Young lady, that is so inappropriate for a school setting. You're going to distract my son and all other boys. I'm going to have to ask you to change as soon as we get to our cabins." For reference, I was wearing jeans, a black undershirt, and a tank top with a thick strap that covered my bra. You literally only saw my black undershirt that kept my bra from being seen through my shirt. Oh, and it was like 100 degrees Fahrenheit. I let out a small chuckle. I thought it was a silly mix-up when we could laugh about it later. Nope, that set her off. "Don't you dare laugh. I'm serious. Who's your teacher? You're so disrespectful. No wonder you're dressed like that, trying to get the boys' attention, I bet." I put on my best polite teacher dealing with parents smile. "Whose parent are you?" she told me. Her kid was a troublemaker from another class. "Mrs. M, I don't know if you're aware of this, but I'm not a student, I'm a teacher. And the camp's dress code allows my student to wear tank tops, so do not ask them to change." "Now you're lying to me? Where is your teacher? I'm getting you sent home." One of my teachers, Mrs. A, overheard the yelling and came over, also in tank top. "Is there something you need, Miss OP?" I shook my head. "No, I was just introducing myself to Mrs. M. She didn't know that Mrs. T had a student teacher this year." Mrs. A nodded earnestly. "Miss OP had been such an asset to all of us this semester. Your son actually got a few science lessons from her this year. She's going to be a great teacher." M was absolutely red in the face. Later that afternoon, we brought all the parents down into our air-conditioned lodge to talk them through the week ahead. Mrs. T, who is kind of our great team's captain, introduced me to the parents. Everyone except M was happy to see me, and few even said to their kids loved having me as one of their teachers. The best part of the week so far when her son ran up to me at dinner and asked in front of his mom, "Miss OP, can you teach 7th grade next year so you can be one of my teachers? I'm gonna miss you." M's son is something of a troublemaker, but he and I got on really well. Well, that was so satisfying to read. The boy was so sweet, unlike his mom though. We have here the second story written by Fendi Peel. M tells me that I can't use sign language at home because she won't learn it. This is about my adoptive mother. My adoptive parents are British citizens who moved to my country in the EU. They adopted me actually expecting mental disabilities, but I was just profoundly deaf. You would think that would be easier. So I grow up, I get enrolled in deaf school where I learned the sign language. But my mother decided it's too hard for her to learn sign language and actually bans me from using it in the house. I had to mime or point at thing until I could start writing, upon which I carried around a notebook everywhere. If I did try to sign, I was being called disrespectful for not including her in the conversation. In a strange way, this made my written language skills very good, as well as my lip reading skills, which many deaf people have challenges with. It was very difficult and upsetting living with her. My adoptive father was nice, but he just listened to whatever she wanted, so he became a bad parent too. I went to university and limited contacting them. The one time I tried to visit him was for holiday. I returned to a house with a stranger family. My adoptive parents had moved back to Britain without telling me. Who does that? Wait, why would they even adopt a child in the first place just to treat it this way? OP's parents sound like a bunch of tools. Next up, we have the third story shared by user69. Entitled kid chokes me while his mom watching, then tries to make me give him my PS4 because I punched him. This story is more about the kid than the parent, but the parent was supporting the behavior, so... Our cast, EK, obvious. M, obvious. Me, super obvious. Neighbors 1 and 2, 2 neighbors' kids. Note that the neighbors are actually pretty cool, and the EK was just older than them, so had some authority. And so, it begins. One summer day last year, I had just turned 14. I was playing some basketball with these 2 kids from my neighborhood in the driveway. Their family are pretty rich, so they have a fully paved driveway big enough to be a sizable court. It's just me and them for about half an hour, until Satan's Sons himself came over from down the street. This kid is the really stereotypical little crap who made the select soccer team 3 years ago and still thinks that he runs the place. So, we let him join the game and everything is fine for a bit. I'm a little bit on the bigger side, but I'm really strong. So I can play really well as a center, posting up and that. And the EK is guarding me, and he's getting worked. He's shorter, not as strong, so he's getting dominated. Here's the major incident. I've just grabbed a loose ball and I'm running back towards the basket. The other kid gets back before me and stops my drive. So I start to back him down again. He must have been really frustrated by not getting a chance on defense. So he thinks of a plan. At this point, I was wearing a hoodie, and the doctor grabs my hood from the behind and pulls as hard as he can. I, not expecting my airflow to be cut off, especially while I'm breathing hard, start to panic. I can't shake him off my back. I don't know how long he's been hanging on, but it felt like a whole 45 seconds. That may not seem like that long. But I'm freaking the duck out, so it feels like forever. An eternity later, his grip loosens and I finally get him off. I'm ducking fired up, so I punch him right in the nose, definitely not as hard as I could, but it certainly would have hurt a lot. This little crap, however, he drops like he's out cold. Meanwhile, I'm on my knees, trying to get my breath back. He's bawling his eyes out, he's rolling and screaming and all that, being the melodramatic turd that he is, but his mom is running over, and it was that moment where I knew I was screwed. Now, sometime between when he started and when I stalked him, his mother came out. But she's the typical, I want to speak to the manager, with the upper middle class mom who volunteers to be the head of the PTA every year and goes to Starbucks 20 times a day. So yeah, the EK is very much her son. M, oh my god, are you okay? What did you do to him? Me, he just nearly choked me out, so I punched him. M, why would you do that? You're so much bigger than him. Me, but he was choking me out. M, come on, dude! You've got to be more mature about this! Me, what do you expect me to do? Apologize to him for making him choke me? This whole thing goes on for a while until the neighbors step in to try to protect me. N1, OP really didn't do anything wrong. N2, yeah, he didn't even hit him that hard. M, but OP shouldn't be hitting people in the first place, especially not my son. Yes, she actually said, especially not my son. N2, but it was basically a trade-off. M, why are you guys trying to protect him? You should probably go inside. You don't know what you're talking about. They keep trying to help me out, but no avail. This just goes around for another 5 minutes before EK finally gets up and limps, yes, limps, back to his house. I go home because I'm sick of this crap and I'm tired. The next day I try to go back over, but the EK is there already. Neither of his parents' cars are there, so I assume that he's staying at the neighbor's kid's house until they came back. I decide to go back inside because I don't want to interact with him. A couple hours later, EK shows up at our door with his mom standing at gate of our fence. EK, Hi, I was just coming over to say sorry for choking you yesterday. I won't ever do it again. Me, okay, thanks, I'm sorry that I punched you. At this point, my mom comes to see who I'm talking to and she asks what's going on. M pipes up and says, M, we are here for your forgiveness gift. Me, my what? M, your forgiveness gift. It's a tradition in our family that the person who apologized last has to give the other person something to make up for it. My mom, excuse me? What's going on? I explained what happened, and as I explained, she seemed to get more and more disgusted by the situation. I finished explaining and turned back to EK, who had tried to correct my story while I was explaining it to my mom, saying things like, he punched me twice in the face and then kicked me in the nuts while I was crying on the ground. My mom is basically a bomb-sniffing dog for lies, so I can see from her face that she knows that is BS. I turned back to EK, my mom. I'm sorry, but we don't do forgiveness gifts in this family. M, we do in this one. EK, pick something out. EK looked around and saw my PS4 and points at it. EK, Mommy, I want that! Keep in mind that this kid is just about a year younger than I am, too old for mommy, and too old for this whole situation in my opinion. M walks up to our door and sees it's my PS4. M, great, we'll take that as our gift. My mom, with steam billowing out of her ears, slams the door in their face and quickly locks it. They start pounding on the door so hard that it sounds like they're trying to break it down. We leave the door, but they stay there pounding on the door for at least another 5 minutes before finally leaving. I still leave my neighbor's house anytime I see him walking down the block. That's the story, folks. Well, how fortunate that this very specific tradition led them to straight up something else from others. Moving on to the fourth story shared by u/unoriginal use. M demands my drink for her kid and gets mad when she finds out I spoke the truth about it being alcoholic. Now for a bit of context, last weekend was Liberation Day in Holland, and many cities were having festivals to celebrate. Most of these festivals have free entrance, so they tend to crack down on people bringing their own food and drinks to increase profits from beverage sales. Mate of mine lives within the area where the festival is taking place so we usually drop our booze at his place and retrieve it during the festival. Since it didn't seem like a terrific idea to walk around with a bottle of JD, I mix it into a 1-liter Coca-Cola vanilla bottle with just enough Coke that it looked like Coke and went on the festival grounds. I'm assuming everybody is familiar with the common abbreviations. JD is my good friend Jack Daniels. We have been through a lot together. While walking around with a bottle of Coke, I feel a tap on my shoulder. Festival etiquette is to move over to the side to let somebody pass, after which I move along. I suddenly feel a hand grabbing my shoulder and trying to pull me back. So I turn around and I'm faced with a typical Karen. M, where did you get that? Pointing at the bottle. Me, brought it from home. M, can my kid have some? Me, not wanting everybody to know that I boozed on me. They sell Coke over there and you can buy your kid a fresh and cold one. M, they don't sell vanilla Coke there and he doesn't like the regular ones. He wants yours. Holds out hand. Me, if he doesn't like the regular one, I'm pretty sure he won't be, liking this any better. Meanwhile, the kid has started squealing about he's thirsty and wants that one. And M starts giving me a demanding stare. Me, okay, lady? I'm going to be honest with you. Half this bottle is whiskey, and I don't think it's a good idea to give the kids whiskey. M, you're lying. You just made that up so you won't have to share with my baby. Now give it to me. Well, kinda shrug and turn away in an attempt to disappear into the crowd, the kid grabs my bottle with both hands and wrenches it on my hand and makes it run for it. His mom is in tow. I follow them and find them just in time to see the kid take a few massive swigs from the bottle, after which he starts violently throwing up almost immediately. Figuring the best move for me would be not to further pursue the now vomit-covered bottle of Jack and Coke, I decide to head over to my mates and mix a new one. In passing, I throw M a "told you" and make my way into the crowds, and second, M charges me and start attempting to take a swing at me. You poisoned my baby! Security! We're separated by bystanders and a toll holder gets security. S, which questions both me and M. M, he gave my baby this bottle of poison and told me it was a Coke. I want him arrested. S, sir, what is in the bottle? Me, a pre-mixed whiskey and Coke, somewhat on generous side of the whiskey. S, why did you give that to the kid? Me, I didn't, sir. I was mostly planning on getting smashed myself, to be fair. They thought it was just a Coke, but wouldn't believe me when I told them it was booze. And then they snatched the bottle from me. What you're seeing here is just the result of the kid taking a drink before I was able to stop him. At this point, a bystander chimes in, confirming that he saw the kid snatch the bottle away from my hand, although he hadn't heard the conversation. Security tells my mom not to pull that crap again, and to take her still crying kid to the first aid post, and instructs me to be more careful with the next batch I'm inevitably about to make. I like the security guards, they seemed chill, and JD was a saver. On to the fifth story shared by Practical Band. My wife and I had to explain to the neighbors that our dog is part of the family and no, they can't just have him. A little over a year ago, when my neighbor moved into the downtown next to us and things seems great. Their kid seems nice and overall seemed like they were a part of a loving animal home. They were quirky but nice people who were always willing to help, from installing a screen door to enjoying a beer and a decent conversation about home improvement. One day, red flags start popping up. Halloween came up, and a few months after they moved in, and we could hear all kinds of banging and pounding coming from the other side of the house they are attached to. We thought it was just a kid playing around and having fun, until the father called me crying on the phone about he was so angry that they didn't get invited to the big party at next house over. The owner of that house has a policy with it. All strangers, if my garage is open, feel free to stop in and join us. You're always invited. A few weeks later, that their kids get the idea and that our dog should have sleepovers with them, and they started asking to walk him sometimes, which at first we thought it was cute, and it was. Until one day the kids were asking about having a doggy sleepover once in a while. Their mother pulled me away from my wife and said that it was really unfair that we get to have our dog all week long, and that they have to build their schedule to see him around our lives and when we were home. I really had no clue to say, but then she doubled down, insisting that their family should have him on the weekends, because I work shift work and get to see him all week long as much as I want. Our relationship with them ended after we caught one of their kids scratching our cars accidentally, and they told the police to call on us. We tried to letting them know what happened. We didn't want money or for it to be fixed, we just wanted their kids to be more careful. This is why a lot of people never talk to their neighbors besides a hello and a faraway wave. That's it for today, fellow humans. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys next time.